Greetings, everyone. My name is Charles Kovach, the not safe for work presidential candidate campaigning for a more direct democracy. And as a way to garner attention for this campaign, I make videos talking about current events and other things that interest me. So let's get into it. And today, as you can see, I'm wearing my reading glasses, which means I'm going to read a piece of legislation. And this particular piece of legislation is Senator Hawley's loot box bill, something I've wanted to read and make a video of for a while because I am a gamer. I enjoy playing video games and so forth. And for whatever reason, all of a sudden my nose is a little stuffy. So, this bill is 1629, introduced by Senator Hawley. Is to regulate certain pay-to-win microtransactions and sales of loot boxes in interactive digital entertainment products and for other purposes. Okay, Section 1: Regulation of pay-to-win microtransactions of sales of loot boxes in video games. Alpha: the prohibition of pay-to-win microtransactions and sales of loot boxes in minor-oriented games, meaning directed towards children. 1. Game publishers. It is unlawful. Bleh. Words are hard. Shut the fuck up. It is unlawful for a game publisher to publish Alpha, a minor-oriented game that includes pay-to-win microtransactions or loot boxes, or Bravo, an update to existing minor-oriented game that would enable pay-to-win microtransactions or loot boxes in the game. So this brings to mind the whole question of what is a minor-oriented game. What if it's something directed towards adults and children like it, does that automatically qualify it as a minor-oriented game? 2. Digital game distributors. It is unlawful for a digital game distributor to distribute Alpha, a minor-oriented game that includes pay-to-win microtransactions or loot boxes, or Bravo, an update to an existing minor-oriented game that would enable pay-to-win microtransactions or loot boxes in a game. Okay, let's see. Prohibition on publication or distribution of video games containing pay-to-win microtransactions or purchasing loot boxes where the publisher or distributor has constructive knowledge that any users are under the age of 18. Now, again, so you're saying if one kid in the entire world plays a game that's made for adults, then all of a sudden this goes into effect? Okay, game publishers. It is unlawful for a game publisher to publish an interactive digital entertainment product that is not a minor-oriented game or an update to such product if Alpha, such product or update contains pay-to-win microtransactions or loot boxes, and Bravo, the publisher has constructive knowledge that any of its users are under the age of 18. So, so if you have one kid in the entire planet that is under 18, then you got to get rid of all this stuff. Now, as much as I would like to see pay-to-win mechanics and microtransactions leave certain games, I'll put it that way, you still have to be fair about these things. And then Section 2 is the same thing for distributors. Okay, definitions. Commission. The term commission means a Federal Trade Commission. In general, the term interactive digital entertainment product means a program such as a video game that is accessed by a connected device and provides an interactive entertainment experience for the user. Exclusion. Such term shall not include a program if 1. The user's interaction with the program is limited to selecting options from a menu of choices, and 2. The program would not be considered a game by a reasonable user. The term digital game distributor means a person that, for commercial purposes, I should say person or entity, in interstate or foreign commerce, distributes an interactive digital entertainment product over an online platform to over 1,000 users annually. Term game publisher means the person, should say, or entity, that for commercial purposes in interstate or foreign commerce develops or finances development of interactive digital entertainment products that is distributed to over 1,000 users annually. Minor-oriented game. The term minor-oriented game means interactive digital entertainment product for which the target audience is individuals under the age of 18. as may be demonstrated by the subject matter of the alpha, the subject matter of the product, bravo, the visual content of the product, Charlie, the music or audio content of the product, delta, the use of animated characters or activities that appeal to individuals under the age of 18, echo, the age of characters or models in the product, foxtrot, the presence in the product of 1. Celebrities who are under the age of 18, or 2. Celebrities who appeal to individuals under the age of 18. Golf, the language used in the product. Hotel, the content of material used to advertise the product and the platforms on which such materials appear. India, the content of any advertising materials that appear in the product. Juliet, other reliable empirical evidence relating to 1. The composition of the audience of the product, or 2. The audience of the product as intended by the publisher or distributor of the product. Or Kilo, other evidence demonstrating that the product is targeted to individuals under the age of 18. So the wording there is kind of loose, because as you heard, there are quite a few sections where, quite a few descriptions where it's so subjective. I mean, I mean, when you write laws like this, you want to try and be objective and not leave things to subjectivity, because the things change from era to era. Okay, add-on transaction. The term add-on transaction means, with respect to an interactive digital entertainment product, a payment to the game publisher of an interactive digital entertainment product, an affiliate of the publisher, or any other person who accepts such payment for the benefit of the publisher via the money or an in-game proxy for money, such as virtual currency that can be purchased with money that 1. Unlocks a feature of the product, or 2. Adds or enhances the entertainment value of the product. And so, yeah, the same thing. So, really, what this means is, what he's talking about here is DLC. Excluding such terms shall not include a payment, including payment of a regular subscription fee that allows a user to access the content of an interactive digital entertainment product, provided the users do not have the option to pay the different amounts to access the same content in order to unlock a feature of the product to enhance the entertainment value of the product. Which is made to allow a user to access the content of an internet, provided that they do not have the option to pay different. Okay, so if what it means is if you're paying, so this kind of separates DLC from everything else, because if you buy DLC and allows you to access certain new areas and new content and so forth, and everybody's paying the same amount, and that gives them the same options, then that gets excluded. Pay-to-win microtransactions. The term pay-to-win microtransactions mean an add-on transaction, interactive digital product that 1. With respect to interactive digital entertainment product that, from the perspective of a reasonable user of the product, is a game offering a scoring system, a set of goals to achieve, a set of rewards, or a sentence of interactive progression through the product's content, including but not limited to narrative progression. And it's going to, so it eases the user's progression. 1. It eases the user's progression through content otherwise available within the game without purchase of such transaction. 2. Assists the user in accomplishing an achievement within the game that can otherwise be accomplished without the purchase of such transaction. 3. Assists the user in receiving an award associated with a game that is otherwise available in an association game without the purchase of such transaction. Or 4. Permits the user to continue to access the content of the game that had previously been accessible to the user but has been made inaccessible after the expiration of a timer or a number of gameplay attempts. Candy Crush. And then, let's see. So, product that 2, with respect to an interactive digital entertainment product that, from the perspective of a reasonable user of the product, is a game featuring competition with other users, provides the user with a competitive advantage with respect to the game's competitive aspects over users who do not make such a transaction. So that's, so let me go back and say, I put when it comes to transactions and gaming outside of the initial purchase, I put it in 4 categories. And yes, these 4 categories can overlap, but they are pay to advantage, which is everybody calls pay to win. Pay to skip, everybody should know what that is. Pay to customize, which is just paying for cosmetics and so forth, and pay to expand, which is DLC. In this section here, pay to win microtransaction, he's lumping pay to skip and pay to advantage together, which, I mean, okay. I mean, I mean, the effect is that no more pay to skip stuff, no more. It's basically saying no more pay to skip stuff, no more pay to win stuff. So I mean, it's kind of okay in that aspect as far as I'm concerned. Exclusion. 1. Difficulty mode. Such terms shall not include an add-on transaction to an interactive digital. I was going to say game. Shall not include an add-on transaction to a game that provides the user with access to a new mode of play that makes progression through the content of product more difficult than it would be without the transaction, as perceived by a reasonable user. Cosmetic alteration. Such terms shall buying another difficulty mode is not pay to win. Buying the harder difficulty, I should say. Cosmetic alterations. Such terms shall not include an add-on transaction to a game whose only effect is to alter visual representation within the game, provided that it's not, from the perspective of a reasonable user, provide the user with a competitive advantage over other users who do not make such a transaction. Which, buying a dot in Call of Duty is not a cosmetic alteration. So, this section right here is what I say pay to customize. The difficulty modes thing, I mean, that's kind of scummy, but yeah. Additional game content. Such terms shall not include an add-on transaction to a game, product, or whatever that adds new content to the product, provided that the add-on transaction can be purchased only once by a user, and the perceived value offered by such transaction from the perspective of a reasonable user is not that it, 1, eases a user's progression through content otherwise available through the product without the purchase of such transaction, 2, assists the user in accomplishing an achievement within the product that can otherwise be accomplished without the purchase of such transaction, 3, assists the user in receiving an award associated with the product that is otherwise available in association with the product without the purchase of such transaction. 4, permits a user to continue to access the content of the product that had previously been accessible to the user but is made inaccessible after the expiration of a timer or a number of gameplay attempts. Or 5, provides a competitive advantage over other users that with respect to the product's competitive aspect. So it's just saying DLC is okay. Okay, loot box. The term loot box means an add-on transaction on an interactive digital entertainment product that A, is randomized or partially, or in a randomized or partially randomized fashion, will 1, unlock a feature of the product, or 2, add or enhance the entertainment value of the product. Or Bravo, allows the user to make 1 or more additional add-on transactions, 1 that the user could not have made without making the first add-on transaction, and 2, the content of which is unknown to the user until after the user has made the first add-on transaction. Okay, yeah, that's fair. And then the rest of the bill talks about how to enforce it and whatnot, and I won't go into details. It does have a section here, a study of the effect of pay-to-win microtransactions and loot boxes to have done. So overall, this bill is a decent bill. It's not great. The wording is horrible. Well, okay, the wording in some sections is horrible. I mean, because if people want to have a pay-to-win game, and that's all the game is to it, okay, that's fine. But you get into this whole issue of the kids getting, the children's getting into the games and everything too. So it really is ultimately this question of, okay, where does the responsibility lie? Because I can make a game for an adult and make it just pay to win. That's the whole thing about the game, which basically games like, what is it, World of Tanks and World of Warships, I think those games are, people are basically say those are pay to win. And my thing about the issue is that I don't think legislating pay-to-win mechanics in this manner is helpful, because you're basically parenting people's kids for them. And I understand how some kids can be degenerates and so forth. I mean, like I work with kids. I see how some of them can get sometimes. But realistically, they're just like anybody else in that aspect. If we're going to be completely honest. So there's really a question here about personal responsibility, parental responsibility, and so forth. Ultimately, I can't say that I'm a fan of this bill, as much as I would like to see it enacted and see the things come to fruition. I would like to see pay-to-win mechanics eliminated entirely, but realistically, that's just not fair to somebody who wants to make that their entire business model. I think it would be better off to enforce that everything is labeled within the proper categories. Like I said before, you have pay to advantage, pay to skip, pay to customize, and pay to expand. So realistically, the only two that people ever have problems with are the pay to skip and pay to advantage. And the biggest one being the pay to advantage. I would rather see legislation focused more on those being identified by the publishers and distributors, and clearly so. If things are going to have microtransactions in them, and realistically you can't consider DLC a microtransaction, but you can consider the other stuff a microtransaction. If things are going to have a microtransaction in them, then something really the best you can do is say, okay, if you're under 18, you need your parents' permission to play this game. I think really it's kind of hard where to place the line exactly, but I think that's the safest place to put the line. And and part of the under 18 thing would be saying, okay, this game has pay to advantage, pay to skip, pay to customize, and anytime a game changes its microtransaction schedule, then it would have to renew the under 18 acknowledgement. I think that would probably be a better and fairer way to go, because, like I said, I know some business models are based on pay to win. When that's fine, there are literally people who want to play a game just to say, I have more money than you, and I'm going to spend it on digital ones and zeros. Okay, I mean, that's more like that's capitalism working off a Darwin award. If there's grown adults that have a whole bunch of money and they just want to piss it all away because they want to double the size of their army for one single battle, or run around shooting everybody with overpowered nukes and basically ruining the game for everybody else. Well, I mean, in certain games, but if people want to do that, fine, fuck them. That's all I really got to say about that. But anyways, once again, my name is Charles Kovach. I am a candidate for president of the United States. And I'm campaigning for a more direct democracy. And if a direct democracy is something that you are interested in, then I urge you to spread the word about this campaign and this idea. And I thank you for your time.